Well, hello everybody. I'm back. This time here I've got a how-to video. I was asked quite a few months back if I could show how I make my pipe tampers. Jeff asked for this, so I'm going to go ahead and try to explain it best I can. I start out with a carriage bolt. It's stainless steel, 1/4 by 20. It's 3.5 inches long. You could vary depending upon how long you want your pipe tamper. But what I do is I start out with just a regular carriage bolt, and you can see that it's got markings on the top. I sand that off on a belt sander, and then I take and I run this edge here, because it's got a square on it right here, on the belt sander, and I just run around in a circle like that until those flats are gone. Then I go ahead and I prepare my pieces that I'm going to put on there. Now, I use this thing here. It's Pittsburgh's gasket punch set, sold by one of the tool outfits. Looks like this, and you can actually set that point up a little bit. But this thing here works great for getting these perfect little discs out of your leather. And the leather, it can vary. You can use thicker or thinner pieces of leather as far as that goes. Then on the center, and that marks that with that little center punch, I go ahead and I knock the center out with a tool from Tandy's. And it is a punch. It's a punch set. These actually unscrew, and you go with different sizes. Now, just using that, it makes it a little tight, so you actually will have to screw this on to get it to go on. Or you can take just another bit, a little bigger bit, and drill these out. I tend to drill these out, is what I do. I have it on these here. Then, as soon as you get that turned down, drill your discs out, drill your little pieces that you're going to use. This is a piece of Coca-Cola. This is just a piece of deer or cow horn that I had lying around. And then this is Italian briar, which I had another piece lying around for making a different pipe. I went ahead and on the particular ones I'm doing right here, I put a piece of leather, piece of bone, leather, the Italian briar, piece of leather, and I used black pipestone, then a piece of Coca-Cola. And if you noticed on this, I actually left, you leave the threads out, probably about 1/2 inch, and then I put nuts on them. Now when you're doing all of this, be sure to use your safety glasses. It's the only way to protect your eyes. Safety glasses, face shields. I recommend all the safety gear when you're doing any kind of work with tools. I'm not responsible for any accidents. I'm just showing you guys how I do this. But when you do this, use the slow cure for the epoxy resin, the 2-part epoxy. If you use the fast, it might not be, you might not have time enough to get everything together. And as soon as you get it together, you want to squeeze this down with a nut, pull this back off, and then use some acetone to go ahead and clean the threads off up top here. Then you put your nuts back on there. Now I use 2 of them this way here in conjunction, because you can put this into a drill and it'll actually work pretty good. With the drill, and you can put it on the belt sander is what I use. It's just a small belt sander, and you'll spin it out and it'll actually take it down pretty good. Now this is a piece that I've already got done. It's all polished up. This is the second one. Now this has got leather. I've got a piece of brass, leather, bone, leather, and then this is that black pipestone. Another piece of leather and Coca-Cola. And I polished these up pretty good on this one here. I've got some special polishing pads and everything. And as you can tell, I've left this open. This top is free. And what you do is, as soon as you get this all turned down on the belt sander, you can go ahead and pull the nuts off after you're done there. Then you want to go ahead and you want to take your piece of hydraulic tubing. This is a piece of stainless steel hydraulic tubing. And you can see here this is how I've cut the one piece out. Cut it back in there far enough for your piece of brass. At least a half of an inch. And what I do here, this is one that I've started. And you can see how this is cut here. And I use the hacksaw to get it to here. Now I draw the piece on there, kind of roughly draw it on. And then I go ahead and I use a Dremel tool with one of the little metal cutting blades. And you have to watch those because they fly apart. This is why I say I'm not responsible for any injuries or anything. But you can cut this out roughly. And as soon as you get that cut out, you want to take and you want to dress these edges up on the outside and the inside. And get that shaped. Then what I do is I take a piece of brass rod. Now this particular piece of hydraulic tubing is right at 5/8 of an inch inner diameter. And you can buy that off of Amazon or eBay, I believe. Then the brass rod is the same thing. I get it off of Amazon or eBay. This is exactly 5/8 of an inch in diameter brass rod. Hardest part's getting this hole centered perfectly. If you have a lathe and you have a centering bit, you can center it that way. You bore it out and you can tap it. Hardware store sells the kit. It's the tap and the drill bit for 1/4 threads on that. So you want to drill it down deep enough so that your tap will go down in there really good. Clean it up. You might have to take it out of the vise, dump it, get all the chips out of the inside of that hole so you can tap it good. Then what I do is I go ahead and I cut this piece off and I will put it in the vise and I will re-tap it from both sides. As soon as I get that done, I go ahead and I'll run my little piece all the way inside that. And what you'll end up with is a little brass section. Now to put this in, I don't use any epoxy on this particular one here. It's the exact size that you need, and you can take and you might have to clean up the threads on the pipe tamper itself, and you can use a quarter 20 die to chase those threads, or you can even use the nuts, the 1/4x20 nuts, and just screw that back down onto it. Another hard part is trying to get this completely square, level right here. So if you start out level, it usually goes pretty good. And like I said, these actually help you when you're turning that. And you put this in your drill. Go ahead and turn it out on the little belt sander, just like Adirondack Wilderness Company does. As soon as you get it turned out, you can go ahead and put it in a drill press if you have a drill press. If not, leave it in the drill. Spin it up. Start it out like 150 grit, 220 grit. Go up to 3, 4. I believe this here, I polished this one here up really good. And I can't remember if it was 5,000 grit, I think is what I was using on this here. It's real fine grit. But it came out really nice. And then I use a buffing tool too, especially on the end. But on this piece here, as soon as you get this little piece cut, got it tapped, and you want to run the tap both directions. That just cleans the threads up and everything. Then what you want to do is make sure you got one side that's pretty clean. Now, I didn't really polish this one up like I should have. I'm still going to polish that up. But I actually have to put this in the vise. And you'll kind of get it started. Taper the edge of your brass piece. Get it started, put it in the vise, and you'll have to squeeze it in there. That's on this 5/8. Now, if you're going to make one that's a little thinner, I have another piece that is 1/2 inch. And like I said, there again, this stainless steel tubing, you can get it through Amazon or eBay. And it comes in 1 foot chunks or however long you want it. Now this one here says it's 1/2 inch. And the brass rod that I bought it. It was supposed to be 1/2 inch as well. And it is right at probably just a little under. So the problem with I have this one here is it slides in and out real easy. The big one does not slide in and out. I literally have to push to get this to even start. So like I said, if you use the bigger piece, you'll have to take the piece that you made, your cleaning piece right here, and you'll have to set that in with a vise and squeeze it in. Then go ahead and polish up the ends. And that's pretty much how I do my pipe tampers. This is one of the first ones I made. Now, I made this a little thicker here. It's a little shorter. So this is pretty stout. This last one I made, it's a little bit not as stout. I mean, it's okay, but you could bend this by your hand or with your hands. So I would recommend going a little thicker in this area here. And I made this one, like I said, a little bit longer, quite a bit longer. This one is shaped more for the modern pipe tamping tools. This one here was shaped kind of off of a 1/2 and 1/2 pipe tamping tool. Well, it was my grandfather's, so. And then I'm working on some Lord of the Rings style. And this is just a antler off of a young buck. It was a spike. And I flattened the area here. I've drilled it out, 1/4-20 stainless steel carriage bolt. And all I have left is just to epoxy this in. I might put a piece of leather in between this bolt and the antler. Put just a little piece of leather in there. Glue it up, and then I'll turn this out. I'll just put it on the belt sander and just trim this up. So that's what I thought I'd show you guys today. I hope this helps, Jeff. Sorry I didn't get back sooner than I did. So we'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. And remember, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to put a comment down. Ask me. If I can help you out, I will. So we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.